welcome to the show. Now please strap in for the truth and remember the words of the great Tom Cruise.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now welcome to Off Topic on Porn.
All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever this may find you, O-Toppers, we are back. I am one of your hosts, Rob Looper, with my friend and co-host, Russell Cruzan, and today we have back with us Big Trav.
Woo!
And we have the other O-Topper behind the scenes, James. James, what's up, buddy? Tell everybody hey. Can you hear me, James? Are you there? James. 1, 2, 3, go.
I can hear you.
There we go. Tell the people hi, James. Tell them what's up. So, Russell, how you doing this evening, man?
Man, I'm doing good.
How's it going?
Rob, how about,
There we go.
San Antonio.
I don't know if this idea of better late than never actually is true in every context, but anyway, to answer your question, Rob, I'm doing really well. Really busy day today. James and I were a part of an initiative that has gone on for a few weeks to get our facility up and going at our congregation. And yeah, boy, there's a lot of work to do there. But
There always is.
going well, and it's good. And
That's good.
did a lot of work yesterday and this evening in preparation for the podcast, actually, as I understand y'all did too.
Yep, we've all been prepping. Yeah, tonight we're going to do, it seemed to be very popular was when we did a podcast on Islam, kind of the spread of it and kind of the strategy of it. And we all saw a podcast in which Tommy Tuberville, Senator Tuberville, basically kind of laid out, he's basically presented a bill that's basically saying, hey, look, let's not have Sharia law in America. And look, I'm for that, by the way. Just want everybody to know. But he lays out some really, the speech was such, so well done, the way that he laid it out. We're going to kind of go through a couple clips here in a little bit, but I think it was so well done. So I think all the guys here saw it, and we all thought, hey, you know what, that's a good way to go through things. And it was just meticulously done. It had points all the way through it, and he made his points and just basically took and defined it and took it apart and everything else. So I think we're going to go through some of that tonight, and it's going to be, or today, wherever it finds you, and talk about that. So, gentlemen, Travis, you doing okay?
I'm good, man. You?
Yeah, man, just hanging out. You know how I do it. You know what I'm saying? So, doing good and having fun, and you know how that is. So, all right. Well, anyway, let's jump right in. We're doing kind of a Sharia law, Islam, the spread of it, but really this one's more about kind of Trev, you and I talked about this, Sharia law and the propagation and spread of it. Russell, you and I have had this conversation. James, you and I haven't had this one as much, but I know you and Russell have talked about this as well. So anyway, Trev, you had brought the clip actually to us all because you had seen it first. So give us kind of a synopsis here.
So Tommy Tuberville got up in front of Congress and basically laid out the plan of Islam against America.
Yep.
So I think, why don't we just start?
You want to start with the intro?
Let's start with him.
All right. Well, let's start with the intro, then we'll all kind of just talk about it. So let's just look at the intro and let's see what he has to say.
When I came to the Senate floor to talk about what I believe is the greatest national security threat facing the United States of America: radical Islam and Sharia law. The Democrats.
So he says the greatest threat to America today is radical Islam and Sharia law. So let's kind of go around the table here. Trav, go ahead because you brought it to us. Go.
So I completely agree with what he says to start with. Islam, the United States is probably one of the last major strongholds against Islam and its teachings.
Right.
We spoke in the last episode where Muslim-dominant countries are now at 50.
Yeah.
And growing every day. We're seeing this spread into Africa and Europe, and now it has really took a forefront in the United States.
Right.
So, Russell, You got anything?
Well, yeah, and something that I was discussing with you guys before is we know that were multiple, since the 700s AD, there have been multiple attempted military incursions into Europe, and they all were repelled. Most of them were very effective repulsions, and so the forces of Islam, whether it was the Turks or whether it was the Ottoman Empire, etc., they were not successful militarily in taking over Europe, and so by extension, the United States and any of the territories historically of the British Empire. Interestingly enough, something that y'all may or may not know, um, the Marine Corps hymn here in the United States, y'all are familiar with that?
Yeah.
It says, "From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli."
Yep.
Where is Tripoli? That is in Libya.
Yeah.
What kind of religion is indigenous to Libya? Islam.
Yep.
What is that line doing in the Marine Corps hymn? The very first time the United States raised its flag on foreign soil in victory over a foreign enemy of that sort was this conflict, the Barbary conflict. And up until that conflict, they, for various reasons I won't go into because for the sake of time, the United States was paying tribute money to the forces of Islam there in the government, just to kind of keep the peace so that they could have access to the waterways for import-export purposes and so forth. By the time Thomas Jefferson and John Adams were on the scene, and because of the activity of the Barbary pirates against U.S. shipping, they made an appeal to the Pasha of Tripoli. Hey, we're not trying to be enemies here. We're trying to do things that are, business oriented and equitable for both of us. And the Pasha of Tripoli said, or he basically said he wanted more tribute money now. Well, Jefferson refused, and so then they started really amping up the piracy on the U.S. shipping, and they declared war, and so we retaliated and defeated them, and so of course the Marines were a part of that, and so there's an example again of the United States. Now it's hitting the United States. The activity of Islam. So all of that to say this, and I didn't mean to go this long-winded, but there have been multiple examples over the centuries of the idea that this religion and the purveyors of it and the embracers of it ought to be in charge and in control of the world. I mean, they literally see global domination as the outworking of Islam. And these events are proof of that. And so what they were unsuccessful in doing to Europe and to the United States all these centuries, they seem to now, and this is my point, they now seem to be accomplishing through infiltration. Military activity didn't work. They're trying a different tactic now.
Agreed.
And
Well,
I agree.
yeah.
If I could
Tommy
just add
Tuberville,
to
too.
that a bit.
Yeah. Go ahead, James.
Right, exactly.
I
Well,
agree.
one of the things that I would like to add to that
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah, go.
This, saying this notion of radical Islam. There's no such thing as radical Islam. Well, the religion that we see practiced is actual Islam. This is Islam from the Quran. This is not some fringe faction. This is what the religion has always been about since AD 700. And like Russell says, it's a situation where the tactics have changed through sheer military might. These forces are unable to defeat European and American interests, so they're subverting these countries, our countries. They're fighting shadow wars. They're subverting us. They're seeking to infiltrate America and defeat us from within, basically. So it's
Termites.
what we're seeing is a also in the PR campaign launched by Islamic forces. They're trying to rebrand them to look friendly. They're the nicer, friendly, moderate versions of Islam. But that's to basically fool and trick us, because that's something that the Quran actually teaches. It is allowable to lie to your enemy and use deception as a military tactic to win.
I totally agree. Yeah, no, and
So make no
James, I think it's a
mistake,
great
there's nothing.
point. Yeah, you make a good point. It's not there. There is no that's the religion they've been practicing. I think that's a fabulous point there on that. I would totally agree. Um, and so moving to the next. I mean, just kind of just I think, man, there's so much that you brought with this. I mean, I don't know, Russell. We talked about this too. I mean, I don't know that we're not gonna probably be able to go through this whole video probably in in one go, because we've got so much
No.
brain trust knowledge here. We'll probably have to. It'll be multiple
Yeah.
probably
I
episodes, but
sense multiple episodes, Rob. on
but
the
it's
horizon.
just nice to have all the guys on the podcast. So we'll bring you this probably so that everybody doesn't have to listen to marathon episode here or whatever. But what we'll do, I mean, but no, but the next clip, I guess we want to just go to the next clip where he talks about why the left doesn't, or excuse me, why we're not talking about it, and it's kind of because of the fear of Islam and the fear of kind of leftist retaliation. So let's listen to what he says, and then we'll kind of just, I don't know, we'll talk about it. But I mean, we don't. Some of it, I think, speaks for itself. But I think some of it we can talk about. But let's listen to what he says on this.
For too long, people have been afraid to call out radical Islam for what it is. Because if you dare to speak out, the left will come after you, your family, your reputation, and your job. They'll try to ruin your life just because they disagree with you. That's how they play the game. One of the radical left's go-to tactics is to accuse anyone who disagrees with them as being a racist, a bigot, or intolerant. They've tried that with me, calling me an Islamophobe for calling out the evils of Islam. But there's only one problem with that strategy. One, radical Islam isn't a race, it's an ideology. It's a choice. And I would argue it is a cult. So no, I'm not an Islamophobe. If you want to peacefully practice your religion, that's fine with me. That's what our Constitution gives you the right to do. Our Constitution gives you that right, and that's why we have millions of Christians, Jews, Mormons, Hindus, Buddhists, and peaceful Muslims who worship freely in this great country of ours called the United States of America.
Trav, you're looking like you have something to say.
So, I mean, he's just going straight to the point with this, and I couldn't agree more with what he's saying. He gets to it, and he just lays out the tactic that is most commonly used today by any opponent to the conservatives
Sure.
in the world. If you don't agree, then you're this.
Yeah.
If you don't agree, we're going to make your life miserable.
Yep.
It goes back to what we talked about in the last episode, the cancel culture. That's
Yeah.
what's popular right now. So we have got to look at this tactic and say, how do we counter this? And honestly, in my opinion, is we just don't give them any ground.
Yeah.
They're
Yes.
coming in with intimidation tactics. And going back to what you said about the Marine Corps hymn,
Yeah.
we dealt with it then.
Sure.
It
Yeah.
can be dealt with now.
Sure.
But it's
Yeah,
going to
good
take
point.
people to stand up and say, hey, this is not good for America
Right.
or really anybody.
Right.
So, I mean, he just smacks it out of the park here, and that's why I wanted to share it.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah. So, James, you were looking like you were nodding. Did you have something?
No, I was just going to just add to that. It's just that, yeah, I think the way we fight Islam is by realizing that we are in a war. It's a war of propaganda. It's a war of rebranding. We have to expose the lies because the most effective weapon in America today is phobe.
Yeah.
The word, everything's a phobia.
Yeah.
I'm transphobic. I'm Islamophobic. I am any kind of phobic. And so that's usually a conversation stopper. Checkmate, I win by default by American standards. And we have to have the courage to stand up to these tactics and say, uh, loving America is not hating Islam.
Yeah.
And I would argue that this whole notion of preventing Sharia law from becoming established is actually a First Amendment issue. Congress should make no law respecting the establishment of a religion or practicing the free exercise thereof. If we establish Sharia law in America, that would be
Establishing
establishing
a religion.
this religion
Yeah.
in America, and that has no place. If Christianity can't be the default religion of America, certainly Islam cannot be.
Right. That's a great. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Russell, you look like you're looking at something.
Yeah, I mean, I've got several things that on the screen and written down in front of me and all that. I'm constantly, I mean, I've been immersing myself in this. I actually did a lot of study in world religions when I was getting my degrees, and this is forcing me back into that. It's particularly where Islam is concerned, because while we have Buddhists here and we have Hindus here and so forth, um, Islam is asserting itself, and Islam always asserts itself. And I agree with what James said about this being Islam is really of one sort of kind. I appreciate Senator Tuberville, what he was saying, trying to be diplomatic about people exercising their faith peacefully, and so their Muslim faith peacefully. The problem is when the people who are more aggressive gain control, those people join up with them. They link up with them. We see that over and over again. There's not a pushback until it's too late.
Right.
And so the time for us to push back is now. And I agree with Travis. I think that Senator Tuberville is doing a good work here. I think his presentation was excellent. People need to see the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there's two bills that he's positing here. And then Senator Ted Cruz also presented a bill that is against the efforts of Islam in Nigeria.
Yep. Yeah.
And so we are starting to see some traction in our government. The problem is we didn't do this soon enough. We've got members of our very own Congress who are actually in bed, or else they are tangibly a part of this and are trying to help with the undermining of our republic through their efforts in the legislative body. So it's up to us, like here in Texas, we dealt with our governor dealt with Epic City up in the area near Plano and Dallas and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But they have Texas targeted. We know that. And that means they've got everybody targeted.
It's very strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
it really is.
And he talks about in like the next clip we were talking about, he talks about the fact that they come in and they don't assimilate to the culture, and they abuse the benefits. So they come in and they just are like, hey, we're going to use the systems that you have in place. We're not going to assimilate. We're going to stay with what we are, but we're going to bleed your system dry. We're just going to use it.
And Senator Tuberville talks about the exact topic in his clip here.
Yeah, let's look at this clip.
Yes.
But if you come here, you are expected to assimilate to our country and our values. I recently saw a stat that absolutely shocked me. We have 42 million people in this country that are on food stamps. 42 million. You would think these people are just Americans who have fallen on hard times, which is who the program is for. But a disproportionate amount of these 42 million people are immigrants. 45% of Afghanistani immigrants are on food stamps. 42 of the Somalian immigrants are on food stamps. And 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps. 59%. So clearly, these people are not coming here and assimilating in our America way of life by working hard and taking care of your family. What an idea. They are coming here to mooch off the American taxpayer. It's wrong, and we need to call it out.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. When I heard that and I saw that, I mean, again, I'm a by definition in trade, and I work with computers and I program them, and numbers matter to me because they don't see. I mean, you can manipulate numbers. Don't get me wrong, but numbers done correctly don't lie. And when you see those stats disproportionately, I mean, that's crazy. And when you're not, I mean, you come in and you work hard and you, I mean, again, I don't have a problem. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying cancel food stamps or anything like that. That's great. I mean, honestly, there's been times in my life when my wife and I were first married and I got released from a contract that I was working and everything else, and we needed it, and it was there. It wasn't something I wanted to live on, but I was so thankful that it was there and we used it, and we got off of it, and and all that other stuff. But it is not meant to live on, and so many people coming in and not assimilating and not working hard. I just that number was astounding to me.
Well, let's take a couple examples that he used there: Somalia
Yeah.
and Afghanistan.
Yes.
Well, let's look at that from a different view. The Somalis were brought here.
Yeah.
And they were dumped into Dearborn, Michigan. Hence why we have the issues we have in Dearborn, Michigan right now.
Right.
But also, even more recent, let's look at Afghanistan. We brought those people in here.
Yep.
We brought them into our own state and housed them on military bases.
Yep.
And then we just turned them loose.
Yeah.
It is all by design.
Oh, sure. And I'll be honest. We lived in Michigan for a little while, and we weren't in Dearborn, but we were. I don't want to say close. Close is a relative term, but we weren't hours and hours and hours away. But we weren't also like 15 minutes. But I mean, you can feel and we had to drive through it a couple times, but even the place where we lived, there was a heavy Muslim population, and it affected the town. There were places that you couldn't drive. You could, if you drove it through these places at certain times, you could hear the call to prayer. And just stuff like that. So I mean, it is. There are towns, and he talks about this a little bit later too. But there are towns that are being affected by this. And Russell, you alluded to this with the military conquest, and they're trying to do this to America. And this is trying to be done. And we talked about it on the last episode with Islam. There's a plan to take over, and really propagate the whole thing. So, Russell, James.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, Rob. I think of the organization CAIR, Council for American Islamic Relations, and this is a public relations, very slick propaganda arm of the Islamic religion, because they are seeking to normalize Islam. I mean, they exist. They're basically the Anti-Defamation League of Islam. So anything that remotely is seen as negative, either in the news or public policy wise, they're calling people out for being Islamophobic. And I think fear is their biggest weapon. People in America are not confrontational unless it's about something inconsequential, like like their sports or something along those lines. But people are scared to speak out in truth because we don't want to offend anyone, because heaven forbid, the 11th commandment in the Bible is thou shalt not offend my sensibilities. That's apparently
absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, and I think we as Americans have to be more comfortable in proclaiming the truth. I mean, even say Jesus is Lord in the public square for fear of offending someone, or even putting up a Christmas tree or a menorah. So, how in the world are we going to be able to, speak the truth against Islam when we're too afraid to proclaim Jesus to our neighbors, our friends, our family members? I think I think much of this is a call to us and the church to say, where are all the Christian men and women with backbones?
Right.
You
No.
know,
Yeah.
what about the armor of God they're supposed to be wearing? And that's they're supposed to be fighting.
No, I agree.
Fighting.
And yeah, and I find it interesting that people are to your point, James, about offending people. It's okay as long as they're, as long as you're saying roll tide and the other person's saying war eagle, you can offend anybody. It's fine because I'm gonna offend them because God forbid you don't say, something to the war eagle people if you're roll tide or, what's the other one? Ohio State and
The
the oh, by the way, that's a whole thing. I have a buddy who lives up there. That is a whole thing. At one point, I said Ohio State. He knew what I mean. He goes, who, the Ohio. So you have to put that in there. Like they're like
Yeah.
really persnickety about that. By the way, I'm like, what up? But like, there's that whole rivalry. So you can offend people. It was interesting when we lived in Michigan, and we would just like hop over to Ohio to see people. The cops in Ohio, if you have Michigan plates on, they'll pull you. Like you, two people can be going 75 miles an hour in a 50. They will let the Ohio person go, and they will pull the Michigan over. To be fair, when you cross the state line to Michigan, if you have an Ohio plate on, they'll do the same thing. The people don't like each other. I mean, now we can offend each other over that. That's fine. But heaven forbid, to James's point now, heaven forbid that we offend each other over the religion. Go ahead, Trav.
right, and it's one of the newest tactics of I'm a minority, I can't be offended,
Yes.
and that's how they build their base. That
Sure.
we as Americans are so ignorant to this fact that we're giving them the ammunition to fight their war
Oh yeah.
by allowing this whole offended culture to move in because they're now like we can use that.
Right. Well, and the victim mentality. Everybody wants to be a victim. Like everybody wants. I need to. They think it's cool. Well, I haven't been a victim today. Let me find something to be offended about. I'll prove this point. I was listening to a podcast, like it was the Rick Burgess show. So it used to be the Rick and Bubba show. Now it's the Rick Burgess show. They were doing a story. This lady, okay, was in a hibachi. The Japanese hibachi grill. Okay, you guys all know those bumper stickers and those stickers that go on the back of your truck where it's got the kid that looks like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes,
Yeah,
and he's peeing on something. Okay, basically this Chinese hibachi guy, okay, had one of those and he squirts it, okay, and it looks like the kid's pee, and he squirted it on a lady, okay, all right, just having good fun. It was water. All of a sudden, her husband jumps up and says, "Don't you run that credit card?" Calls the cops and says it's sexual harassment. He sexually harassed my wife. Got the cop, and the cops are like, sir, there's nothing here. Like, it's not even like the doll is not anatomically correct or anything.
right.
Okay, it's just coming out of the belly. Like
He
where the
was
belly-
looking for a free meal.
He was looking for a free meal, but everybody's looking to be a victim. To your point, Travis, this whole I'm a minority, I can't be offended. Everybody's looking for that victimhood mentality, and we've allowed it. And to your point, then the problem becomes when real things happen,
Right.
you don't know anymore, and it gets pushed to the side. So, but yeah,
Well, a
it's
lot of that
go ahead,
is
Russell.
commentary on not Islam, but on wokeism
Yeah,
and what it's done. But the wokeism consists of, one of its words is intersectionalism, and it's the idea that a lot of different ideologies that really have no place with each other come together because they're trying to topple a common enemy. And in this case, the common enemy it's multi faceted. It's the American Republic, but it's also the Christian church and Christians in general. And so, wonder who's going to win between the Marxist and the Islamicists, because they have mutually exclusive ideologies that they are just ignoring so that they can come together in this artificial union. But why should Americans be concerned specifically about the incursion of Islam? Well, just a couple of points for people to consider very quickly here. The American Republic is based on government by the consent of the governed, right? The Sharia system is government by divine decree. Now, in this country, country, people love to scream and holler and yell about, oh, Christians, they want a theocracy, which we don't, but they say that. And it's like it's the worst thing that could be in government is that we would have a theocracy, and yet that is precisely what Islam pushes. Another thing, separation or the separation of church and state, or religion and state, is what is, you know, I don't know how clear that is in the Constitution, but it is said by legal scholars to be a part of the concept in the Constitution. But it's exactly the opposite in Islam. Unity of religion and law is absolutely fundamental. In fact, Sharia law is the bringing into the legal structure the religious texts of Islam and basing law on them directly. There's also free speech and conscience that we embrace here, right? Freedom of conscience, freedom of speech.
Right.
You can't be arrested for what you think. You can say almost anything you want to say, and not have to worry about what the government will do. But the government under Sharia law would come against people for blasphemy and for any kind of apostasy. All of that is punishable, and it's punishable by pretty heinous means. And this includes things that people don't even think about. For example, if a young lady decides that she wants to become a believer in Jesus Christ, and she's in an Islamic home, and there is Sharia law in the area where they are, dad can kill her. He can execute her. It's an apostasy kind of killing.
And it has happened in the United States.
What's that?
That has happened in the United States.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it
Honor
has.
killings.
It sure has. An honor killing. That's correct. That's what it's called. So there's that, and people really need to take that into consideration, because if Sharia law were the law of the land, this is the kind of thing that they are agreeing to and would happen. Another thing is we believe in equal, then kind of to this, right? We believe in equal protection under the law, don't we?
Yep.
Yes.
But they are about hierarchy, with the Muslim male at the top. I just alluded to this, and women and non-Muslims are below them in every regard. There really are no female rights. There's no women's rights. And then we believe in due process, and this will be my last point. We believe in due process and proportional justice. You know, you make the punishment fit the crime, right?
Right.
But not there.
Yeah.
Amputations, floggings, and stonings are commonplace for blasphemy.
Yeah. And you know that you know, let's look at the next one, because Russell, you kind of lead us into the next clip. It's kind of the way that they look at it, because he talks about a lot of those things, but before it talks about convert or die. That's the message. And so let's listen. He says it, and then we can kind of keep going on the line that you're going. So let's listen to what he said.
The Quran instructs Islamists to fight Jews and Christians, along with anyone else who doesn't believe in Allah. Simply put, radical Islam teaches that it is righteous to kill Christians. It's righteous. There's no peaceful coexistence with this type of people. None. Just look at the Middle East and North Africa, where Christians and Jews are being slaughtered by the thousand. Where's our media? Where are they at? More than 7,000 Christians have been slaughtered by radical Muslims in Nigeria so far this year. 7,000. That's 35 people that have been killed every day this year. Where's the mainstream media? How come they're not talking about that? Radical Islam demands complete obedience, complete, 100%, and will kill you if you dare to speak out against their beliefs and ideologies. This isn't anything new. Muslims have been fighting to wipe out Christians and Jews for centuries. But now the problem isn't just confined to faraway Middle East. It's happening right here in our backyard in 50 states. We're already seeing cities in Michigan, Minnesota being taken over by Sharia law. In Dearborn, Michigan, a Christian pastor recently protested. A street was named after a radical Islamist terrorist. pastor just complained about it. In response, the Muslim mayor of Dearborn told the pastor that he is no longer welcome in the town and will celebrate the day that he leaves. Think about that. A Christian pastor is being silenced here in America for objecting to a taxpayer-funded road being named after a terrorist.
So, yeah. So there's a lot there to unpack, but Trav, go ahead. You look like you're ready to talk. Go ahead, buddy.
So it goes back to what we were just saying. This coexist.
Yeah.
Islam has used this method to get into the United States. Oh, we'll get along, we'll coexist and all that. You cannot coexist with people who want to kill you.
No.
And to touch on what he was saying about Nigeria, and I just recently saw a video talking about this. They said it's no longer even convert; it's just die.
Yeah.
There's no more. We're going to give you an opportunity to become a believer in Allah. We know you're a Christian. We know that we know that you're affiliated with Christians.
Sure.
So we're not even worrying about converting at this point. We're just killing you.
We're just killing you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, Rosa, and you were talking, and there's a lot of, and he unpacks it further as we go, as he gets into the clip. There's a lot of like things where we think, and it has always baffled me that people who support and are very, they give, I don't know, I don't want to say grace, but they're very, don't talk bad. We can't talk
It
bad.
goes back to that false belief of everybody's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a denial of human nature, and people don't like what the Bible says about human nature because we all instinctively know it's talking about us.
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
that the alternative philosophy is man is basically good, and I've come across people a lot over the years who embrace that. And there's, we could talk about what that means and all the outworkings of it, but this is basically a conflict that it's not just a legal conflict, and that's what the secularists here in the West just don't get. This is a theological issue.
Yeah.
Christianity proclaims a God whose justice is satisfied at the cross and whose mercy is extended through grace. That is what the New Testament teaches. Islam presents a God whose law must be obeyed for acceptance and whose mercy is selective and uncertain, and it's only for obedience sake.
Mm-hmm.
There's no redemption in the Christian sense. And by the way, if I could just toss this in very quickly, the God of Islam and the God of the Judeo-Christian world are not the same God.
Very true.
Although people try to say that they are. And all you have to do from the Christian perspective, all you have to do is see what each faith structure says about the person of Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
Islam subordinates him to the level of merely a prophet and not even the top prophet.
Right.
He's not the prophet like unto Moses in the book of Deuteronomy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the second prophet in Islam. But that's not what the Bible teaches.
Right.
Whether it's the messianic vision of the prophets or the revelation of Christ in the Gospels. He is the Son of God.
Sure.
Well, they say God doesn't have a son. Well, our scriptures say that he does. So we're talking about two different gods. Your God doesn't have a son. Therefore, your God does not provide redemption for humanity.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, and
I could say a lot of other stuff.
No, but it's interesting, and I know people say this all the time. They don't like the idea that we are sinful by nature. And the example that I that you can't get around, okay, and is when children, and again, I know my kids, Russell, you're homeschooling, you're doing some stuff, you're helping some people out, so you can kind of do this as well. Travis, with your kids, okay, and James, we did youth ministry together. You get this, okay, with kids.
All right.
Okay. So you don't have when kids are toddlers, okay, you don't have to teach them to lie. They just
That's
do it.
true.
Okay, but you know what else you don't have to do? You don't have to teach them to be selfish.
That's right.
You have to teach them to share. Never have I ever heard, ever, James, and I don't think when we were doing youth ministry, Now, it was with teenagers, but still, okay? Never did we say, hey, guys, you're sharing too much. Go ahead and keep it for yourself. Never
I do
once have I
teach.
heard.
Yeah.
I've never heard that uttered at a preschool, a daycare. I've never heard it uttered at a high school. Guys, hang on, time out, stop. You're sharing a little too much. You're looking out a little too much for your neighbor. Look out for yourself just a little bit
Yeah.
because you have nothing and now you're going hungry. Nowhere have I ever heard that. Why?
I have worked with kids with autism now. That's my current job. So
Right.
I can attest to that. Working with my 4 and 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yes, that's their natural default factory settings.
Yes.
Mine.
Yes, mine. I mean, they learn mom, they learn dad, and then they learn mine.
Yep.
You know, it was that joke on the what was it? Finding Nemo.
Yeah, the
The
seagulls.
seagulls.
The
Mine,
seagulls.
mine, mine. I mean,
Mine.
think about that. Everything is based in me, mine. I got it. You know, why does the Bible so much talk about? I mean, think about this. When Jesus was talking, and he basically wrapped up the Torah in two. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Here's my thing. If it was so easy and it was our default nature to do it, why would it be a command? You know what you
'Cause we
don't
don't
have
do
to
it.
command me to do? Breathe. Why? I do it. Don't have to tell me. I don't sit here and go, I'm just not doing it. You can't make me. Nobody does that. You know what you have to tell me as a human not to do? Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Why? Because we are bent to make sure that we go, look, I've got to get mine.
And to go back to where the God of Islam and the God of Christianity is not the same, is what we tell our children not to do is exactly what they tell their children to do.
Right.
That's a good
If
point.
it's in the
That's a good point.
furtherance of Islam,
Right.
or if you're dealing with unbelieving people.
That's right. And,
That's
and
so true.
what a
Yeah.
tough thing for a kid to be able. I mean, it's already you're not supposed to do it, but now you got to draw almost moral dichotomies and dilemmas of, well, is this person a believer? So is it okay to lie? And is it not okay? I mean, think about all the mixed messages you're sending, and a God who would do that, who would say, no, it's okay here to lie, but it's not okay here.
Well,
That
it's a direct assault
Mhm.
on the nature of God.
no, well,
So the
you're
God of
correct.
Islam, the concept of the God of Islam is a direct assault on the nature of God.
Yeah.
God set about to the reconciling of the world unto himself, and he did so through his son, Jesus Christ, the Messiah,
Amen.
who died for our sins and was buried and rose again the third day according to the scriptures. But in Islam, it's not, there is not any such redemption. God does not seek reconciliation with humanity. We simply must obey.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is the beginning and the ending of it all.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so salvation, by the way, is not through redemption through the shed blood of and the finished work of the Messiah. It's by acts that you do. And we're right back to the whole false concept of do versus the true concept of done. The
Right.
finished work is done, and it was finished by the Messiah of Israel.
Yeah.
Every other religion in the world, it's do
Yeah.
this, do that, do this, do that, and it's just like that in Islam. And then at the end of it all, you don't really know where you stand.
Right. Well, and
So
it's,
that God, the God that generates that idea, or really it's the people who are saying,
right.
who have invented this God, they have taken they have attacked the nature of God in their concept. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna just sort of follow up and say it's kind of goes back to, I think it was, what is it I think it's in James where it says, show me your faith without works and I'll show you works from faith.
I'll
You
show you my faith by my works.
by my
By
works.
my
Yeah,
works.
thank you,
Yeah.
Russell.
James
But
chapter 1.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. See,
Amazing.
again, when you have the faith and you have a God who has already done it, the works come out of the faith, out of the love, out of the relationship, not trying to earn the love, earn the relationship and everything else. It's done out of the abundance of the relationship and the faith and all those things. It's an outflow, not a grasping. You know, it's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
So, well, okay. I think we're gonna have to have a part 2. Because we're we're not even close to where we'll be done. So we will definitely have a I guess it'll be a part 3
Possibly.
because we've already had
We
had part 1.
When
So
we started this, we knew we were going into a very deep subject.
we were going into a deep subject, and you know we'll give the people what they want on this one. They seem to like the last one.
Yeah.
We'll hope they'll like this one, and let's pay some bills here. One of our sponsors on Off Topic On Point is Mountain Mowers LLC, and if you're in the Tri-County area, they're your local experts for keeping your yard looking its best, whether it's mowing, trimming, or full lawn care. Mountain Mowers has you covered with reliable service and a personal touch. They know every yard is different, and they treat yours like their own. If you're ready for a lawn that stands out without all the hassle, call Mountain Mowers LLC today at 276-730-8230. Mountain Mowers. They cut grass, not corners, and we love Mountain Mowers. So give them a call. Check them out. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. James, it's good to get you on here finally. Travis, it's good to have you back on. And Russell, as always, my friend, good to be with you. And as we like to say on here, you do not have to stay on topic, but you must always, always, always be on point. All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening today to Off Topic On Point. We want to remind you of our email address if you'd like to contact us. It's otopnow@gmail.com. That's otopnow@gmail.com. And as always, we want to leave you with this. It's okay to be off topic. Just make sure you're always on point. All right. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.